Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is May 20th, 2024, Cannonball Day to the Jesuits. Today is the 503rd anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola being shot with a cannonball. And we're going to get to why it matters that on Cannonball Day, Cohen is the one admitting to stealing from Donald Trump. And of course, Cannonball Day is important to the Jesuit order, and Donald Trump, Jesuit educated, having attended Fordham. So we're going to cover that. We're going to go back and look how Judge Eileen Cannon wanted Trump in court on this day, Cannonball Day. Obviously, he didn't end up in court on this date because he's in court in New York. But Judge Eileen Cannon, months ago, this post is from July 21st, 2023, about how Judge Eileen Cannon requested Trump in court as early as May 20th. Again, that's Cannonball Day. Billy Cannon, the football great, died on this day in history. Not that long ago. We've talked about it many a times. So we're gonna bring this together, and just so we can see through the political theater, which it is, scripted out day by a code. We're going to talk about the latest What is 47? Again, we're always saying, what is 47? It's a very special number that's used in high ritual, that's studied by a secret society, and the 47th problem of Euclid. But the new president of Iran, who replaces the one that reportedly died in the helicopter crash, which we covered yesterday, notice the crash was exactly 47 weeks into his age. Exactly 47 weeks. And again, if you are new here, 47 is a very special number. It relates to authority. We've talked about it so many times. You might recall this from 2020. Trump saying he's done more in 47 months than Biden's done in 47 years. Trump had about 1,047 rituals before that, and probably close to 1,000 more since. But again, I just always like this post because of the double 47. Again, in Gematria, president equals 47, like White House, like government, like authority, like Republican, like Whig, like Democrat, like DC, like Trump, and the list goes on. Truth Social, which equals 47. There was a headline, over a year ago about Trump not posting on Truth Social in 47 days. They just abuse this number so much with authority. Another thing of authority that equals 47, Vatican equals 47. Again, this year, the first ever Super Bowl on the Vatican's 47th birthday, and the score was 47 total points. The over-under was set at 47.5. Only 2 of the 50 states equal 50 in the most simple cipher. Nevada, where the Super Bowl was, and Ohio. Trump had his 2016 convention in Ohio before he became president. And on November 5th, 2016, 3 days before the election, Trump reportedly survived an assassination attempt in Nevada. This year, the election is on remember the 5th of November. 1 second, I have to take a phone call. It's just going to take 1 second. Apologies. Okay, we're back. So again, just this 47 thing with the presidency. We talked about how yesterday was 211 days. Yesterday's now May 19th. It was 211 days after Netanyahu's birthday, and 211 is the 47th prime number, just like how, again, Bill Clinton took office exactly 211 days before his 47th birthday. So, yes, the new president of Iran assumed the position with the disappearance of the president on May 19th, and that was, again, exactly 47 weeks into his age. That means today, Cannonball Day, May 20th, the day that's in the headlines, that he is the new president. Today's 47 weeks and a day into his age, or you could say it's exactly 47 weeks since his last birthday. But also just about the ritual. Look at the name of the new president, Mohammed Makbar, right? And the former president was 63 years old. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad's believed to have died at age 63. Muhammad Ali died on June 3rd, 6-3 in the year 2016. 2016 is the 63rd triangular number. But Muhammad Makbar, notice how in Gematria his name equates to 140 and 68. He's dead at age 68, kind of like how the drummer for Stained, who's dead, his name equals 53. Sadly, he's dead at 53. RIP to both of them. But Muhammad Makbar died on the 140th day, or excuse me, he didn't die on the 140th day of leap year. He became president on the 140th day of the leap year with the reported death of Iran's president. So again, we're going to go through all of this in greater detail, but the point is, again, if you're new here, how can all of these stories be synced up like this? In Iran, the official language is in English. Again, if you have questions like this and you're new here, it all goes back to the 16th century when English was standardized with the 26-letter alphabet at the same time the Gregorian calendar rolled out in the century of the Jesuits. And again, they implemented a system that is used by this Roman Catholic Church every day as they manipulate world affairs for the sake of an agenda that is about power and control and manipulation. And as we were talking about yesterday, the nation of Iran was overthrown in 1953. A long, long time ago, 71 years ago. It'll be the anniversary this year, the 71st anniversary of the CIA overthrowing Iran on August 15th. And August 15th is the Jesuit order's birthday. More recently, Afghanistan's government collapsed on August 15th. Another big day of Jesuit ritual. But anyhow, I'm going to cover that story quickly in case you missed the end of yesterday's stream where we decoded in real time the death of the Stained drummer. We're going to look a little bit more at that. Today in Washington, D.C., it's Cannonball Day. It's the 503rd anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola being shot. And it was that moment in his life that changed his life forever and made him eventually found what became the Jesuit order. And we know 4 years ago on this day, the last leader of the Jesuits, Adolfo Nicolas, died. There's been so many rituals on this day, May 20th. But the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year began on this day in 2021. It was the 500th anniversary that year. Today, 3 years later, the 503rd anniversary, the 96th prime, big number with Michael Cohen, as we'll get to, who's the top headline in the U.S. today. But yeah, just, Washington, D.C. is where the Jesuits set up camp when they came to America. And I'm just thinking about a national headline about an officer being shot in D.C. in the Masonic Jesuit city. It says the officer was shot in the area of 7th Street. The 7 stands out. Again, G is the 7th letter. Modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. The House of the Jesuit, spelled with a G, is the Jesuit headquarters. So there's probably more to it, but yeah, just a big shooting story in the DC land on this day. Looks highly symbolic, as the news almost always is. Today, the Dali ship clearing out. Most of the headlines are correct to say that this boat is leaving the crash site 55 days after the crash. But what's also true if it's 55 days after, including the day of the crash to today, is a total span of 56 days. The crash was on March 26, 26/3, like 263, the 56th prime. As we talked about, the bridge had a 56-meter clearance, and it came down on Nancy Pelosi's birthday, who's from Baltimore, when her name in Gematria equals 56, like Washington, D.C., like Society of Jesus. Again, that's the formal title of the Jesuits. Big number pattern. So, again, just adding to the ritual, the days. And mind you, I mean, we've been saying the thing's clearly Jesuit the whole time. And now to depart on Cannonball Day, which is Jesuit. I mean, it just could it be any more obvious? And you know what else with regards to the 55 days later? One of the most famous pirates of all time died on this day in history, supposedly, and he died at age 55. Do you know who that person is? Some people might not think of him as a pirate, but he was. And he's taught about so much in our slave school system. We learn about them like almost every single year. There's an annual holiday for him that's a day off. Christopher Columbus died on May 20th at age 55. Remember this whole ritual with this Singaporean ship? Again, on the 86th day of the year, the Key Bridge came down. Key Bridge equals 86. 86 weeks after Nancy Pelosi was in Singapore on Francis Scott Key's birthday, shaking hands with their leader. These little sick jokes, but yeah, if you missed the work on the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse, there's a lot to know about that. So, all right, let's come back to the top story of the day. Michael Cohen admits to stealing from Trump organization. And again, today is the 503rd anniversary of Cannonball Day, which is celebrated on May 20th. 503 is the 96th prime number, and gematria Michael Cohen equals 96. And just think about the spelling and kind of the sound of both Cannon and Cohen. Like, imagine you didn't know English and you were looking at the words Cohen and Cannon and trying to figure out the way the language works. You might think that these words had a relationship. They both start with a C, an N. Even the letter that's in Cohen, the way the H looks is actually kind of similar to the N. So you'd be like, well, they're similar looking letters. Cohen, Cannon, Cannonball Day. There must be something to this. But yeah, we've been anticipating this 503rd anniversary of the 96 prime to see what they do with some of the 96 stuff in sports today. And, Michael Cohen ends up being the headline. And again, earlier, it was last year that Judge Eileen Cannon said she wanted Trump in her courtroom on this day. But he had to be in the New York courtroom with now the big Cohen climax. And we'll see if this thing gets wrapped up before the end of the week. 523 has been a big day for Trump in history, so we'll see if something monumental happens in the court case 3 days from now. That would be Thursday, wouldn't it? Yeah, May 23rd. Cross that bridge when we get there. May 24th is the day in history that Donald Trump posed with the Pope at the Vatican. That was May 24th, 2017. That's typically the 144th day of the year, but in a leap year, it's the 145th. If you're new here, 144. Another big Jesuit super duper ritual number. So this year, May 23rd will be the 144th day of the year. But yeah, Michael Cohen on Cannonball Day. It's just, again, it's political theater. And, what's disturbing to me is how so many people who are aware of this, like they look at this stuff and they still just don't feel like they can put their finger on it. They're like, I'm still not sure that it's the Jesuits that are doing this. It's like, I mean, what more evidence do you need? They gave us the calendar, the language at the same time, the rituals day after day, paying tribute to their stuff on their high holy days. I guess the only argument you could make is that somebody took over that and they're still running it the same way, so nobody noticed that there's a new boss in the chair. I don't think. I mean, that just. What about the Jesuits who still exist? And especially since we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope and everything's been super highly symbolic around him. Again, so all right, just moving on. Other stuff. This post isn't it? Actually, this post is from July 21st, 2015. It's funny because that headline from Eileen Cannon sentencing Trump to court on Cannonball Day. It ended up being July 21st last year. But Michael Cohen was in the headlines that day. And the point I was just pointing out is just Michael Cohen has that special gematria of 96. He's Jewish. The Jewish motto is never again, which is 96. Freemasons 96. Again, Freemasonry is based in the Old Testament. That's why the nickname for it is Judaism for the Gentile. Old Testament's the Jewish section of the Bible, if you don't know. Satanism has that gematria 96, which fits in again with Trump. Being declared the 45th president by Barack Obama at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, April 30th, 2011, the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan, when again, the highest degree of the Church of Satan is mega. But yeah, Michael Cohen in 96, we were writing about it way back when in 2015. That was a real lazy post right there, but it's just documenting, ongoing patterns. 96 is a special number. The top degrees of the Scottish Rite, 31, 32, 33, they add to 96. In gematria, Freemason is 96. Today, the day of this ritual with Michael Cohen is actually a date with 33 numerology. And of course, Michael. There's a few names that have Gematria 33, like the male names that equal 33 are Michael, Sam, Robert. I'm doing a bit. There's more than this right now. Some names are escaping me that normally just come right to my mind, but yeah, those are three of the common ones. Michael, Sam, and Robert. I'm definitely forgetting some others. But yeah, again, all high ritual. And DC is the Jesuit Masonic city. Look at this headline from the 201st day of the year. Again, if you're new here, huge number at the Jesuits. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. On the 201st day of the year, this was the headline on CNN in 2018. Cohen recorded Trump discussing payment to former Playboy model. It was Karen McDougal back then. But that was one of the big stories in this supposed trial that Cohen was secretly recording Trump. Back then, that was a top story, that Cohen was secretly recording Trump. I mean, they're literally hitting you like with the same stories over and over. They know it's the United States of amnesia. They know remembers anything past Monday. They know almost nobody's ever heard about the Jesuit order or knows anything about Cannonball Day. So that's how they get away with doing this stuff day after day, because it's not in anyone's consciousness to recognize any of this stuff, to recognize the repetitive number patterns, the tributes to the dates. People aren't connecting, 1 + 1 and 2 + 2. But yeah, that was the 201st day of the year right there. Putin invite sends DC into Twilight Zone. That headline's hilarious. The Twilight Zone equals 201. Ron Serling has that Christmas Day birthday, which fits in with just everything that went down in the 16th century, heliocentric model, numbered Bibles, English alphabet. Again, just to answer the question about earlier about, it doesn't matter that these other countries, English isn't their predominant language. This system was implemented for world domination, and English is the language of the world. That's why it's taught worldwide and people learn it all over. That's why a lot of people from a lot of countries can speak at least a little bit of English. On the 201st day of the year, China, U.S. started the biggest trade war. 2 years later, Trump's signing off on his trade deal with China on January 15th, the day of the first case of coronavirus in the world outside of mainland China in Bill Gates' backyard. And then on January 21st, the day it's confirmed, Trump's at the World Economic Forum gloating about how the world will never be the same again after his trade deal with China. In just a perfect ritual. There's so much to explain about it. But again, that was after the Event 201 pandemic simulation put on by Klaus Schwab, the Jesuit, in the World Economic Forum. That was the day they announced they were going to stop cracking down on anthem protests. It's funny just going back and looking at this stuff. Oh, man. Old 201. But yeah, that was it in 28. Yeah, and there's just so many different posts I have on here of this one was about 47-year-old Karen McDougal at the time. That was who the payments were to. Reportedly 5'8", like Trump won the 58th election in a million different 58 rituals. It was 119 days after her birthday. Donald's got that 119 connection, like they called him president-elect on November 9th, 119, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, which equals 45. And also you run it the other way, 63, like 2016, again, was the 63rd triangular number, going with what we said about Muhammad dying at 63 and Muhammad Ali on June 3rd and the Iranian president dead at 63 yesterday. But yeah, she was a Playboy playmate. Playboy's got the 119 connection too. And that reminds us that Hugh Hefner, when he died on the very infamous day for the Jesuits, the day they were recognized by Rome in history, September 27th. Playboy and playmate 119. Trump talking to sheep, digits 11 and 9. Yeah, so the day they did that had the 45 date numerology. Then years later, his ex-wife's fallen dead down the stairs 45 years after their marriage, and he's burying her on the 201st day of the year. Okay, So yeah, just to come back, there's one more point I wanted to make about Mohammed Mokhbar, the new leader in Iran. That 68 stands out in a big way. Again, the new president took over on the 140th day of the year at age 68, corresponding with his name perfectly. Remember, Washington equals 140, CIA equals 68. The CIA overthrew Iran in 53, 71 years ago. And this war began on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's. And now here we are on Cannonball Day, where this is a focus. The new leader in Cannonball Day equals 71, like Catholic equals 71, like Korah Babylon equals 71, like Babylon equals 71, like Zeus equals 71, Jesus, Jupiter, Zeus. Anyway, there's a reason for all these things. But yes, we know another big 68 is Donald John Trump. And yeah, you just got to say how perfect that this guy takes over on the perfect day at the perfect age, exactly 47 weeks into his age. And again, Donald Trump running on Agenda 47 right now, trying to become the first and only split-term president since Grover Cleveland, as we've been talking about for years, why it would make sense for that to happen. Again, and the point I'm trying to make is all of these puppets on the world stage, they're from the ruling families. They're chosen because they got the right numbers for the right rituals that are all planned by the same repetitive code. I mean, just like, look at this. They're talking about the axis of evil again with Iran up there, and former CIA officials' axis of tyranny warning the world after the butcher's death. They called the president the butcher of Tehran. How come there's no nicknames like that for Netanyahu? Why don't they call him like the butcher, the butcher of Gaza? Again, that's why it's amazing that people just can't see through how media is trying to program him, always giving him certain thoughts and ideas that really aren't consistent at all. It's like, well, wait a minute, they want me to think that way about this, but then have this perspective on this? Wait a minute, you're trying to say I'm a bad person because I don't think people should be killed in any place? Okay, I understand something bad happened on October 7th, but to keep attacking these people and blowing up their... I mean, how many headlines have there been out of Gaza since the war began last October 7th, where this hospital got blown up, this food line got blown up, this accidental attack there happened, oh, this many kids died in this attack? I mean, it's just like, come on. But no nicknames for Netanyahu, who gets on the TV anyway. He's like, I'm going to continue to blow him up until we got every last hostage back. I don't care how many more kids got to die. He doesn't get to be called the butcher of Gaza. What'd this guy do? What are these guys' crimes? But yeah, here's the other piece. The VP took office as VP, who's now president, August 8th, 2021. From May 19th, from that day he took office to May 19th, it's 33 months later, right? That stands out, but it's 145 weeks on the nose. We talked about this yesterday, how perfectly coordinated this was with the Pope and the Superior General, who are Catholic. Like there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, the Jewish section. Thus why Israel was created on 14/5. Again, Catholic equals 71 forwards. We talked about how the war began in a big 71 ritual, how it's the 71st anniversary of the CIA overthrowing Iran. But you run it in reverse, Catholics 145. So here we go again. 71, 145, both ways. And this new president, his birthday is June 26, 26/6, kind of like 266, synced with the 266th Pope, Pope Francis, the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, 266. Okay. And if you missed yesterday's post, again, there's a lot of things that are interesting here. The Pope was making a rare appearance on 60 Minutes on the day of this tragedy. But yeah, the Superior General, it was his 190th day of his age and the 19th of the month. And again, 190 is the 19th triangular number, which means if you had 1 through 19 together, it's 190. The Quran code is based on the number 19. And the Quran code was discovered in 68, the year that everything went into motion for 9/11. The oldest of the 19 hijackers on 9/11, Muhammad Atta, born in 68, like the 911 emergency dialing code, like the World Trade Centers in New York, and the rest of the list. Again, that's 68. And now you get this new president, right? At age 68, 47 weeks into his age. Doesn't it remind you of how the CIA was established in 1947 in a huge Jesuit ritual on the 201st day of the Pope's age? And CIA is 68, and Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, is 201. And doesn't it remind you about how the CIA funded Osama bin Laden to interfere with the Soviets in Afghanistan? And then years later, Israel's having its version of 9/11, as they called it, on the anniversary of us invading Afghanistan. Again, all of this stuff is a cruel, sick joke. The people of the world being lied to, made fun of, watching history repeat, maybe not even noticing it, but being made to pay for all of this tyranny too, all of this unnecessary warfare, being made to pay for these crimes. But yeah, again, this man was the 8th president of Iran. 19's the 8th prime. The overthrow of Iran by the CIA began on August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday in 1953. It ended on the 19th day of the 8th month. The sun card's the 19th card. The sun makes a figure 8 in the sky. This death of the president happened on a Sunday, where the Pope again was making a rare appearance on 60 Minutes when the original Jesuit order had 60 members in its first decade with the Vatican. The word order itself is 60. So yeah, again, if you missed yesterday's stream, check it out because there's more information there. But yeah, there was also a parallel with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant died synced with the Pope's 83rd birthday. Helicopter crash equals 83. This president took office on August 3rd, and then the VP became the first VP 5 days later on August 8th, 88. Again, 19's the 8th prime. Then he elevates to president. The word sun in Gematria equates to 9 as well, in light of him becoming the 9th president on a Sunday, the current one. Helios equals 68, in light of him being 68 years old. Planet equals 68. The sun is a classical planet. The 7 days of the week are named after the 7 classical planets, which are the things that move in the sky. Yeah, 157 days after his birthday, just like Kobe died 157 days from his birthday. Accidents 157 in the case of Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's also 57. Accidents also 32. He died exactly 32 weeks after Netanyahu declared war on Hamas, which is backed by Iran. And he died on 32 date numerology. Just go on this accident pattern here. And there's other things that are definitely interesting. Again, 211 days after Netanyahu's birthday, the 47th prime. 181 days after Biden's birthday. Iran is 42. Hamas is 42. War is 42. World War's 42. World War III itself is 181 and 71. August 15th will be the 71st anniversary of the CIA overthrowing Iran. Yeah, so again, these dates, when you recognize what they are in history, it all starts to make a lot more sense. You realize the calendars sync with the Pope and whatnot. So, again, John Wysocki, drummer of Stained, band that got really famous about 20-some years ago, around 2001-ish. Drummer dead at 53. And in Gematria, his name equates to 53. John Wysocki, 53. If you're new here, again, there are 4 base ciphers that we teach, but there's always been one that's been just more useful than the rest. And it's that alphabetic order with numerology, the same cipher laid out in Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And you see how his name has that 53 right in it. You see how his name is also 55? Notice how Break the Cycle, the album that made the band famous, is 55 as well. And he's born in 71, this drummer. It's funny how some of the same numbers are coming up. 233 is the... Anyway, 55 is the 10th triangular number and the 10th Fibonacci number. He died 10 days after the anniversary of Break the Cycle coming out, which it was May 8th. Hold on, let me see. I think I got it here in the post. May 8th, 2001. So yeah, that band got super famous after that album. Dead on May 18th, but 55, the 10th triangular, 10th Fibonacci number, and that number coded into the album and his name. And again, his name was 53 forwards, 55 in reverse, dead at 53. It's funny how just we're talking about the 145. See, I'll see this a lot when I'm decoding. I'll see like how a lot of stuff in the news have the same numbers, and I'm like, I don't exactly know why he would fit in with that, but again, when you look at the news each day, you'll also see these wider patterns. If I was explaining this to someone, though, I'd start with the 53 thing, and then again the 55 and the album. If you had 1 through 10 together, it equals 55. If you count out the Fibonacci sequence, funny enough, the 10th number in the sequence is also 55. Fibonacci sequence goes 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. That's the 10th one. The first two ones count as 1 and 2 because that's the way the pattern works. 1, 1, you add the last two numbers to get the next number. So the next number is 2. Then the next number is 3 because the last two numbers are now 1 and 2. The next number is 5 because the last numbers were 2 and 3. The next number is 8 because the last two numbers were 5 and 3. The next number is 13 because the last two numbers were 8 and 5. Next number is 21 because the last two numbers were 13 and 8. By the time you get to 55, it's the 10th. And also what's interesting in Gematria is if you write out Fibonacci, it's also 55. And also Numerology is 55, if you spell it right. Yeah, Numerology 55. And remember, Marilyn Manson has the song, "When you say God, I say Satan." Satan, which sounds like Satan, but Satan, like the number 10. Satan equals 55 and 10. God equals 55 and 10. When you say God, I say Satan. And they even got to get that story out there today about 55 days after it crashed. The Dali's finally moving on Cannonball Day. The Jesuits served the Pope. The Pope has the same gematria as devil. Okay. So, yeah, until they put out more information about the police officer in D.C., I can only do so much. But, yeah, it just does stand out. Jesuit stronghold. It's the anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola himself getting shot. So, see if they give us a whopper of an age. See what the officer's name is when they release it. But yes, okay. I think we're all caught up on everything. And again, just the 55 today with the boat. Again, it's also the anniversary of Christopher Columbus' death at age 55. It's also a span of 56 days. Like 56 was the number all over the initial incident. And just because I was watching these two guys today who are both very familiar with my work say that they still don't think there's enough evidence in the world to say who's behind shenanigans like Tupac's death. And I just thought, like, when is there ever going to be enough evidence for people to connect the dots? Like, to me, it's just so blatantly obvious who's behind the Tupac killing, or at least how it was reported with the day they put out the album and the symbolism all over it and the hit song. But again, for people who missed this post from last year for the Tupac death anniversary, we were talking about how his label, Interscope Records, the first album he ever put out was Tupacalypse Now, which has a biblical theme to it, on November 12th. That's funny because that's Arturo Sosa's date of birth now. 1991. So that album will turn 33 years old at the end of this year on the Superior General's birthday. That's interesting. But again, from his first album coming out to his death was 58 months and a day later. His full name, Tupac Amaru Shakur, is 58. So is Caesar Borgia. He died on Caesar Borgia's birthday anniversary. And again, Tupac's alias was Machiavelli, after Machiavelli, who wrote the book The Prince, based on Caesar Borgia, who White Jesus is modeled after. Go with the Machiavelli album having Tupac on the cross like Jesus. On Remember the 5th of November, the special day to the Jesuits who served the Roman Catholic Church in Italy, like where Machiavelli's from, who faked his death. And then remember Machiavelli, his real birthday was May 3rd, 5-3. And Machiavelli came out 53 days after Tupac's death. And then in 2016, Tupac's mother was announced dead on May 3rd. She died the day before, but you'll see every story was broken on May 3rd that she had passed the day before. Nobody broke the news on May 2nd, the date of her reported passing. But that was right after Prince had died in the big I Would Die For You ritual with number 4, letter U, how he wrote the song when he used the 21st letter, and he died on 4/21, the Queen's birthday. And he died right after the 58th Grammys and Purple Rain's 58, and he died 201 days before the election that year, and he had the song Black Donald Trump, who won the 58th election. But anyway, Tupac, his mother, announced dead right after Prince, when again, Machiavelli wrote The Prince based on Caesar Borgia. So how all these things come together. But Jimmy Iovine, who's Catholic, who founded Interscope Records with the March 11th birthday, from his birthday to the death of Tupac, 187 days. Again, Society of Jesus is 56 and 187. Interscope's 56. Remember the 5th of November, the day Machiavelli was put out, is the day leaving 56 days left in the year. From Tupac's birthday to his death was 89 days, like there's 89 chapters in the gospel, but Interscope Records is also 89. From Ted Fields, the other co-founder of Interscope, from his birthday to Tupac's death was 104 days. Tupac Amaru Shakur, also 104. And remember, right as the NFL season was getting underway this year, the year of Super Bowl 58 to conclude the 104th NFL season in Vegas where Tupac was killed, all of a sudden they're making arrests for the Tupac killing. And the Super Bowl's on the Vatican's birthday. Again, I just, like, when I watch people who I've done interviews with talk about these things and act like, yeah, I still don't think it's really enough proof to say anything definitively. It's just like, okay, that one example you just brought up, how about the examples day after day? It just makes me not even ever want to do interviews with these people again. It's like, these people are a waste of my time. God, the world is a waste of my time. What's wrong with people? It's so obvious who's doing this. I think everyone just doesn't want to put their finger on it because then they'd feel compelled that they had to do something, and that's the real problem. Nobody really wants to do more than they already have to do. They still want hot showers, hot plates, and no more additional stress, which I can understand. I mean, they do make this world way more stressful for us than it needs to be from day one. I was born into a stressful environment, always wondering why everyone was so stressed out. But yeah, I mean, again, day after day, everything's high Jesuit ritual synced at the Pope and the Superior General and on and on and on. And I don't know, it's like, how many years in a row do you have to show up for every day before there's a breaking point with people? All right. I think we'll leave it there for now, you guys. If you want to join us on Patreon, we've started a new game on the Patreon with weekly giveaways. You want to get good with your sports decoding? Contest each week to win a nice little $100 Cash App. And if you want to get involved with that, it's on the $11 tier. And again, really, a good way to sharpen your knowledge and your skill with gematria is looking at what they do in the world of sports every single day. Every single day, high ritual in the world of sports. In the Eastern Conference Finals, you get the Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals between his Pacers and his Celtics, as the NBA Finals are set for the Celtics' 78th birthday when Boston Celtics equals 78. Indiana did win the East in the play-in tournament they had this year. And then yesterday, Minnesota advances to the Western Conference Finals on their greatest player ever's 48th birthday, Kevin Garnett, who went from the Timberwolves to the Celtics and won a championship in Boston. Boston Celtics equals 48 forwards, 78 in reverse. Yesterday was Garnett's 48th birthday that the Timberwolves had a huge, massive rally. And it's just... again, it's not hard to see who's rigging these leagues either. So learn the code, pay attention to news, sports. You'll see how it's all scripted together day in and day out. And yeah, we have live streams every day on Patreon, and we all try to get better together. So this person right here, hold on. This person right here says, if I can be convinced sports are scripted. Anyway, you probably have. I see. You're saying I thought maybe you were saying you haven't been convinced yet. Chicago is one of my favorite places to do the convincing because, again, Chicago's the easy one. Chicago equals 46. They won their only Super Bowl with 46 points with the revolutionary 4-6 defense, and there's even more to it. But that number plays hard in Chicago. Chicago Cubs the small way is also 46. So yeah, maybe the Celtics aren't winning the title. We'll have to look at it. We'll look at it more with this Larry Bird finals. We'll see. But yeah, the Indiana Pacers set a record. They nearly shot 80% from the field in the first half of yesterday's game. Unheard of. Amazing what technology can do. Then again, as much as those guys are paid, I feel like they should shoot 80% from the field every half. So, all right, guys, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And till next time, True Seeker.